Welcome, everyone. Today, we're going to tackle a question that's been on the heart of a lot of you, which is, why am I single? And I know many of you are a great catch and you are looking for love. Like all of us are. We aren't meant to be alone. There's someone out there that is for us. And so there's a calling within that we want to answer and find a person that is for us. My name is Chris Kazi Broll. I call myself a helpful romantic. I am a matchmaker, relationship coach, and dating strategist, and someone who cares about helping people to attract the partners that they want in their lives. I have a decade of experience in this work. I've seen the hurdles that prevent people from finding their match. The journey to love isn't about finding someone. It's really about becoming our best self, doing that self-work to self-actualize, and then welcoming a partner into our lives. Today, we'll delve into the various reasons behind prolonged singleness and the ways to overcome it. I'm originally from a small island in the West Indies called Nassau, Bahamas. I moved to America as a teenager, living in foster care, hoping to reunite with my biological mother. I came here in the early 90s. Unfortunately, our reunion was short-lived. When guilt and animosity collide, it's not a pretty picture. It was a challenging time, and blending our energy together did not work. So consequently, I found myself navigating the streets of Brooklyn, New York. At that time, wherever I laid my head was my home. But thanks to the investment of my foster family and the resiliency built from everything that I've been through, I managed to turn my life around and forge a path for myself. I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always been into the arts, and I lived in both worlds. But the arts took me to a performing arts high school where I discovered and honed my talents. My curiosity really led me to philosophy and art as a form of communication. And I was always the person that people would come to solve problems, lead groups, bring people together, but also the one who would write the hookup. I would write like letters from folks or poems and things like that. And so that's where I started being that helpful romantic. But anyway, after graduating high school, I got into the music industry, and I created an artist development program, and I worked with all the top labels, particularly Def Jam. Russell Simmons was one of my mentors. And that program attracted the attention of Bruce Willis and Queen Latifah, which led to a feature-length film about the program and my journey as somebody who used art as a tool for healing and paid it forward by providing that to other young people. But the main focus was to teach them the creative and the corporate sides of the business. Wherever I go, I always seem to be somewhat in the healing and arts, and then as well as business. The importance of self-development was always important to me, and I just followed that curiosity. And so when I transitioned out the music business, I felt a calling towards personal development, recognizing that that was transferable skills, because in a sense, artist development is really personal development for artists. And so I would go and try to find tools to enlighten, inspire, and educate these young artists to have better lives. I stumbled upon someone named Queen Afua. Some of you may have heard of her. She's a wellness guru, a best-selling author. We had a consultation. At the time, I was dealing with ulcers, and one of the first questions she asked me was, who was I holding a grudge against? And that was the first time I ever made the correlation between your physical health and your mental health and emotional health. And so throughout the journey of healing, I came to realize that decisions that we make early on in our lives that may not be in the forefront of our lives may be affecting our health and our happiness. When we enter in relationships, those same issues can be triggered and agitated. And to avoid that pain, we develop various defenses, often unaware that they are running in the background. That's a key phrase I want y'all to remember. running in the background. Our minds are efficient at protecting us from pain and hurt. So what we do is a lot of times we develop strong suits, right? Even the term strong suit to protect ourselves. Even I would do pull-ups. It's like one of my favorite workouts to do because your body weight is a weight. So you don't even have to go to the gym. You can work out right from home. But when you do pull-ups over time, your hands, a sensitive area would then become covered with calluses. According to some biologists and scientists, a turtle didn't always have a shell, but it developed a shell to protect itself. But at the same time, sometimes when you develop a protective layer, it can also weigh you down. But anyway, to get back, after a long, strained relationship with my biological mother, I went there and sat down with her and started that healing journey. And from that point on, man, I've done so much healing work. This might have been in 2003 or 2002, one of those. But as I delved into that self-work, that therapy, that spiritual healing, I became very passionate about sharing my learning, facilitating gatherings, particularly around relationships. And then the events just kept growing and I had to take them out of my house. I started doing it at hotels, conference halls, special event centers, and colleges. I traveled all around the country and even throughout the West Indies. Well, I had connected with a brother out of Washington, D.C. named Paul Brunson, one of the top matchmakers in the country. Paul taught me the business of matchmaking. I thought that was the problem that I needed to solve because the time that it takes to sift through all of the, I call it the noise and the nonsense, to try to find your ideal partner. So many women who were coming to me at my events and saying, hey, could you introduce me to this guy? Or do you know a guy that's this or that? All they really want me to do is to make the connection. It was good for me to be able to just solve that problem. But then I ran into another problem. If you make a good match, if you get past a year, you got something. I was able to get people past the year, but then there were people who were falling off. And then they started saying, you didn't match me with the right person. I'm saying, y'all been together a year, 18 months, 2 years. Now it's my fault. So then I said, what can I do to properly prepare people for a meaningful relationship? And that's when I said, you know what? Let me focus more on relationship readiness. I aimed at preparing individuals for meaningful relationships, focusing on the underlying issues that often prevent us from finding and maintaining love. Throughout the journey, though it was not easy, I'm so grateful for everything that I've been through because it taught me a lot about people in general and what they need or what we need. I know for myself, having gone through everything I've gone through, the importance of self-work and preparing yourself for a relationship. If I hadn't done that work, I would have never been with my wife all these years. We've been together 16 years and we still like each other. Those that have been together for a long time, you know what I mean? It's been a beautiful journey. I actually cried on the day of my wedding. I did. I cried because I know what it took. It's been a long journey. I came down the aisle to a song called It's Been a Long Time Coming. It's been a long. Anyway, that's my song. But that song had a great meaning for me. The song might have been considered sad, but for me, it was a joyous song. Now, we've all heard the adage that preparation is the key to success. We prepare for jobs, extracurricular sporting events and activities, but we don't do the same level of preparation for love and relationships. Why treat the most important area of life as something that could be left to chance? That's a question for you. We need to be more intentional. And I took that on and I created a curriculum called Dating Me, which I want to tell you a little bit about. But before I get into it, I want to tell you the main reasons why you might be single today, because it connects to why this program could be beneficial for people who are looking to answer this question. Reason number one, the scars we carry. Unhealed wounds from our past relationships are like silent ghosts. They haunt our present relationships, often without our conscious awareness. These emotional scars stemming from childhood trauma past abuses or previous romantic disappointments. They subtly influence our behaviors and reactions and even the partners we choose. The origins of these wounds are deep. The ramifications of carrying unhealed wounds into relationships can be very detrimental. They can manifest as overreactions to minor disagreements and inability to trust or a constant need for reassurance. Over time, these behaviors create a cycle of misunderstanding, conflict, and detachment. Without addressing and healing these wounds, individuals may find themselves in a continuous loop of failed relationships, each one reinforcing the pain and the pattern of the past. Within the Dating Me program, it's a journey of self-discovery where we guide you through the intricate process of identifying and healing past traumas by confronting these unhealed wounds. Participants learn how these experiences have influenced their approach to relationships. This healing process is vital as it opens the door to forming new, healthy connections without the shadow of past pain looming over your life. Through guided introspection, therapeutic practices, and a supportive community, Dating Me offers a sanctuary for growth and healing. As participants work through past trauma, they gradually become ready to welcome new relationships with open hearts and minds, free from the triggers of unhealed wounds. Now, let's move on to reason number 2. Reason number 2 is when we make bad choices. Your picker is off. Our choices in partners often mirror unresolved issues within ourselves, leading to a pattern of misaligned relationships. The root of this problem lies in the unexamined corners of our psyche, within our fears, our insecurities, our unresolved traumas. They shape our attraction and decision in ways we may not fully understand. This misalignment between our desires and our choices can lead us to partner with people who are not best for us, and they exacerbate our deepest insecurities. They make it even worse. The consequences of these misaligned choices are relationships that feel unfulfilling, conflict-ridden, or emotionally draining. Can I get an amen? Anybody can relate? So over time, this can erode our self-esteem, perpetuate our inner conflicts, and leave us questioning our worth and our judgment. The cycle of choosing unsuitable partners not only hinder our ability to find genuine happiness and connection, but also it blocks our growth and healing. The Dating Me program addresses these challenges head on by helping participants understand the root causes of their choices. And I'll get into more of that later. Now let's move on to reason number 3. Reason number 3 is that you might be fishing in the wrong pond. The environments and methods through which we seek love significantly impact our success in finding suitable partners. Often we find ourselves fishing in the wrong pond, searching for love in places that do not align with our values, interests, or relationship goals. This misalignment can originate from social pressures, misconceptions about where to find love, or a lack of self-awareness about what we truly seek in a partner. It can lead to a series of shallow or unsatisfactory relationships, a sense of isolation, and a growing disillusion with the idea of finding a suitable partner. This continual mismatch not only wastes our time and emotional energy, but also detracts from opportunities to meet individuals who align with our aspirations and values. Within Dating Me, there will be strategies around how to attract the right people, where to go to find the right people, refining your online profiles, exploring new social circles, and engaging in activities that reflect your interests. Now let's move on to reason number 4. Reason number 4 is that you might be turning off possible prospects unknowing. See, Our behaviors and attitudes, such as being overly critical, excessively guarded, or needy, can deter potential partners and act as an invisible barrier to you finding meaningful connections. These issues often arise from, again, unresolved personal issues. So it's not funny, but you get to see the pattern here, right? There might be social anxieties, a lack of self-awareness leading to missed opportunities to find love. You might get in short-lived relationships and experience a cycle of loneliness. Central to the challenge is something called your reticular activating system. Now, this is a part of the brain that filters sensory information and regulates your attention. The reticular activator system can influence how we perceive social interactions, potentially reinforcing negative behaviors and beliefs, a process known as self-sabotage. We've heard that term before. That's where you sabotage yourself. Something could be good, it could be great, but you mess it up or you do something to cause it to not work out. This cycle is driven by deep-seated issues like low self-esteem or failure. Now, it makes you prioritize negative feedback and overlook positive outcomes. First impressions in dating are crucial, and understanding the impact of your behavior on other people is the key to attracting and maintaining interest. Addressing these behaviors require a deep level of self-awareness and a shift in focus toward focusing on the positive interaction and outcomes. If a person has negative beliefs about themselves, their reticular activating system might prioritize information that confirms their belief. And that's what leads to the self-sabotage. Like, I don't deserve this thing, so I need to create the circumstances for me to not have what I don't believe I should have. I hope this is making sense to you. And so that's one of the things we focus on in the Dating Me program. We emphasize the importance of developing self-awareness, and we give you specific steps and activities that will help you to strengthen that muscle. Now let's move on to the fifth reason you might be single. It's because you're asking the wrong questions. In dating, the questions we ask are a very important step in uncovering the compatibility and depth of a potential partner. I'm sure we've all been on dates and be like, all right, yeah, this is not the one. However, if you're asking the wrong questions or failing to ask meaningful questions, you can significantly hinder your ability to connect with this person on a deep level. This issue often stems from a lack of understanding of what information is truly valuable in assessing compatibility, as well as the fear of being too intrusive or revealing our vulnerabilities. And as we say in the hood, why you fretting? The ramifications of not asking the right questions are that your relationships get built on superficial foundations. The partners who may not share your core beliefs, or goals, or emotional needs. This oversight can lead to surprisingly and painful realizations down the line when the initial infatuation fades and the reality of incompatibility merges, potentially resulting in a disillusionment with the dating process. And so you just say, you know what? I'm just going to be single. Right? And so in Dating Me, I have hundreds of questions to really connect and understand each other on a deeper level. Number 6, your BS meter needs recalibration. When you're in a relationship and it doesn't work out, you can start to protect yourself by ramping up your sensitivity to falsehoods and inauthenticity or just people who know good. And this BS meter is turned up to an extreme level. Although this heightened alertness aids in spotting dishonesty, excessively tuning it up can inadvertently shut out those who are sincere. It's very much like over adjusting a filter. If you set it too high, nothing passes through. Finding equilibrium or balance is the key. It's about filtering out the undesirable elements while allowing the essence of genuine connections to permeate. The thing about it is that a lot of times we're not aware that this BS meter is running. We think it's the other people, but little do we know we're looking at the world through filters. We have deep-seated biases and unseen blind spots that play a significant role in shaping our relationship journeys, often unbeknownst to us. These biases stem from past encounters, cultural norms, or personal insecurities that lead us to jump to conclusions, ignore warning signs, or misread situations. This unawareness traps us in a cycle of selecting partners who reaffirm these biases, whether beneficial or not. The question then becomes, like, how do you spot your blind spots? I remember taking a program called the Landmark Forum, and I remember them doing an activity that made me look at blind spots totally different. No pun intended. So they drew a big circle, and in the circle, they would make a pie, about 10% of the pie of that circle. And they would say that this 10% represents the things I know. And so you would list all the things. You know my name, I know where I'm from, I know my age. And then they cut out another 10% and said, hey, this is what you don't know. I don't know Arabic. I don't know how to run the 400 meters without dying. I don't know how to code. The other 80% represents everything you don't know. And if you don't know what is possible in that 80%. And so write this down. This is very important. Your biggest breakthrough is in your blind spots, especially in the realm of dating and relationships, which is why I've stepped in to do this work. I was moving away from doing matchmaking and relationship coaching and just going to focus more on one of my other companies, which is a creative agency. But I've been listening to what's out there on the internet, and I just feel like men and women are at war with each other. We're not truly advocating for each other, but rather battling whose issues are worse. We're not recognizing that we're on the same team. These are some of the issues I've seen in people who end up being single or struggle to find lasting relationships. I've had to navigate a lot of these myself. One is the difficulty with vulnerability and trust. After experiencing bad situations, it's hard to open up your heart again. But the true power in life and in a great relationship is found in vulnerability and trust. You have the unresolved emotional trauma from the past, especially for someone like me growing up in foster care, was something I had to heal from. I don't think I could have opened my heart the way I did without addressing these wounds. It's some of the most significant work I've done in my life. My wife, Nefra, and I often joke that if I'd met her a few years earlier, it wouldn't have worked out. Now, 16 years later, we're still going strong and genuinely still love each other. And so I'm so grateful for that. Another issue is the poor relationship choices. You choose based on where you are. So a lot of times when you're pointing the finger, you got to always remember that there are three pointing back. You might think that it's slim pickings out here dating streets, but there's also the concept of living above the line, which is taking responsibility for what you can and acknowledging that every outcome in a relationship is a choice. Say, what do I mean? You could point the finger and say that, hey, something's wrong with all these out here, but that wouldn't mean you don't have a choice. And so if you want to change things, you can't change other people. So the only thing you can change is really focus on yourself. So whether or not you can control the other person, you always have the choice in how to engage. And that's where your power lies. When interviewing clients who complain about not finding people, I often ask, How often do you go out? If you're not putting yourself in position to meet potential partners, it's like expecting to win the lottery without buying the ticket. It's a numbers game. And so being proactive is extremely important. Then there's the challenge of inherent negative behaviors that we carry, which do not land the way we intend with others. Many men don't know how to express their concerns in a relationship constructively, so they might choose to disappear or ghost rather than have a difficult conversation, leaving unresolved issues and misunderstandings in their wake. Communication is a huge issue because many of us don't know how to do it effectively. It's not something taught in schools at the level required for successful relationships. For the Dating Me program, I've worked with therapists, life coaches, and we've crafted something that I think is really powerful and effective, and it will help you to get relationship ready. This program isn't just about finding love. It's about preparing yourself for it, addressing the issues that hold many of us back. But there are skills that have to be developed. In this day and time, we're so focused on our careers and getting money. I know a few of you here are entrepreneurs. I know that grind, and it's something that I'm very passionate about. I spend a lot of time working on it, and I'm super excited about this program and working with people like yourselves. We just ran a pilot last year with a cohort, and I got a lot of great feedback. Now I'm incorporating more resources, different therapists, life coaches, and relationship coaches. And we have, really powerful workshops. So let me tell you a little bit about the program. The program is conducted online, making it convenient for you to access it anywhere on the planet. And you get all the lessons, the group sessions, and so on. How it works is it's 50% out the dating streets in their first 12 weeks. It's all about dating yourself, spending time with yourself. And you're back out in the dating streets, applying all of the new tools that you now have. You go out there with a higher level of consciousness and better results. This whole process is more of a holistic process. For people who have been in the program before, is that they came into it thinking it was more of a dating program, only to realize it's really a self-discovery program. And I would say the first 3 months is more of that. That's why we call it Dating Me. It's like a play. In those first 12 weeks, as you're dating yourself, you're also more aware of what is it like to date you. Like a lot of us go out dating, but we're always focused on the other person and the red flags that we see. But what about the red flags that they see? And so we have processes that will help you to become more aware of those things. We got worksheets, we have frameworks, we have activities, and all of it is to provide you with access to things like your love language, your blind spot, your key strengths, your SWOT analysis of you from a relationship standpoint. We always do analysis in business, but what about SWOT analysis of us, the business of us, the brand called Me? You will be able to not only identify what red flags are for you, but also the red flags of the people who are with you. What are the traumas that you walk into any relationship with? How do you unpack those things? And then the next 3 months, of course, is more of a mastermind rather than teaching. We focus more on hearing what's going on with you and being able to come together and strategize and update each other on the status of where we are. And we're like playing like real chess, right? Hey, you're dating, do this. And if he says that, do this. And so you have a sounding board and support to help you navigate those things. We also have something called the 100-hour rule. There was a study that was done on how to build true friendship, is that you spend quality time together without any distraction. And we'll get into all that. We have a lot of great tools for you to use when you get back out there in the dating world, particularly the questions to ask. A lot of benefit comes from the right questions and how to ask it without interrogating somebody, and just to flow and get everything you need, but also have them feel more connected to you. We have a lot of great testimonials of people I've worked with and the benefits that they've received and You can read some of them here, but just so grateful for being able to do this work and see all of the changes that I've been able to contribute to. So I'll go a little bit over a few of the numbers. What you get access to is the curriculum. It's a platform that we use called Mighty Networks, and you'll get access to the videos and worksheets, and that's worth $997. You get access to 24 live coaching group calls. If I would put a value on that, at minimum is $100. And so you get 24 of those. So that's worth $2,400. And then you get the worksheets. That's worth about $75. And then you get the replays. That's $600. All of the value that has been packed in here, as you can see, is worth about $4,972. But today, if you act today, we're going to offer you this program at a price that is just really something that I wanted to do, so that it's an irresistible offer. If you're about it and you really want to do this work, I didn't want money to be a hindrance. So we're going to provide you access for $600. One way you can look at it is basically $100 a month, which, based on what's in here and what I've seen out into the world, I see programs that are about $10,000 that provide the amount of value that we are providing. If you find that $600 might be a challenge, you can also do 2 payments of $350. 3 payments, you can also do that as well, and that would amount to about $750. All right. So like with anything, if you buy more, if you buy in advance, you save. Thank you for your time and attention. If you want to take that next step, I'm going to drop a link here, and I would love to see you on the other side.